582 miles though.
Yeah, you're all
Yours
quite a
straight
bit.
up 600?
618.
618.
God damn.
Ooh.
All right. I thought you were going to go under. I thought you were guessing for like, you rounded up from 520.
Oof. 618, buddy.
I like it.
Now, if we have to run the snow route, that shaves about 70 miles off.
Okay. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Dirt Droid Podcast. We have spun the wheel of Dirt Nerd this week again. We are in Staunton, Virginia with a co-host of Freddie Abe. I'm Tim, and we are joined by the guys from Backroads of Appalachia, Jed and Matt.
Yeah.
What's up, man? Glad to be here. Beautiful drive in, nice snowy winter day, and we're happy to be here hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, I did not expect the snow. That's why we're starting 15 minutes late. At least that'll be my excuse. Is woke up and there was about 2 inches of snow on the ground. I had also to prepare the shed for my wife to do projects where I was gone. But I guess it's a good preface for the unexpected of the 24 hours of Appalachia run for the hills.
That's right. Yeah, we're really hoping that it doesn't dump a nor'easter on us. We are prepared for snow, and obviously we're encouraging everyone to come prepared and have the right gear. But it definitely is one of those curveballs that may occur. And we're looking forward to it.
So is this your baby? Is this your idea? Or did it come from somewhere else in the company? And tell us about the company too, because until I met you 5 minutes ago, I thought you were just doing this as Jed, and like you threw the idea together with some buddies and you threw a cool name on it. I didn't realize you guys were actually an actual like organization, a nonprofit organization.
Yeah. So just real quick about Backroads. So we're a federally and state recognized nonprofit. We operate in Kentucky and West Virginia, and are starting to operate in Virginia and possibly Ohio. And we basically are focused on motorsports tourism and bringing people to economically disadvantaged communities that were hit by coal or timber, and bringing money into those communities through tourism and various other means of events. And we have an app as well where people can download that app and follow really cool driving routes for sports cars and motorcycles. And we're kind of getting into the adventure and overland world as well. And we just basically want to showcase our communities and bring people there to help support jobs and growth.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was on the app and the website because I plan trips for myself and my group, and I'm like, I wonder what cool stuff they have. And you guys don't have a lot of off-road stuff yet. You have a lot of on-road stuff.
Yeah,
but I guess this is going to be your big. I mean, you're an off-road guy.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the company's big foray into the off-road lifestyle.
Yeah.
Don't want to call it overlanding because that's a little pretentious. We had that conversation on the way down here.
Yeah.
But
adventurous.
Yes.
Adventure tourism. So that's kind of my wheelhouse is adventure tourism, and what that boils down to is going and playing in the dirt, right, or the gravel or whatever, and finding cool places and cool vistas to go and enjoy yourself and your friends and family. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I was hired was I have a background in the adventure tourism world. I was a guide still am technically a guide. I'll still take people out, but this is more my focus now. But anyway, a few years ago, I started a company called Appalachian Ridge Runners, and took some people out on tours and stuff. I was like, man, I really love this, and the gentleman that runs Backroads of Appalachia, his name is Eric Hubbard, and that's how he found me. And we just started talking on the phone one day, and one thing led to another. And fortunately, we were able to get funded by the state of West Virginia to operate in West Virginia and drive economic development. And so we started July 1st of 2023.
Oh, damn.
And we did our first big event, Drift Appalachia. That was in November. Several of the videos from that event have gotten millions of views. We had folks like Ryan Turk and several of the big names in the drift world come down and drive that. And that really kind of launched us and catapulted us into where we're at now. And then I posed this idea for the 24-hour run to Eric because I have an obsession with like Camel Trophy and Dakar and Baja 1000 and things like that. And I was like, man, let's do something just grassroots. Obviously, it's not a race. It's just something for fun. And more or less a model that we could possibly change into a competition at some point. But for now, it's just going to be for fun to raise money for a good cause. And we're going to have two a year. So one this winter and then one in the summer. Try to move it around in different parts of the state, or maybe even mix it between Kentucky and West Virginia to spread that love out a little bit. And the focus on that is again being catering to all sorts of vehicles. Like, you know, Matt and I, Matt's a Toyota guy. I'm a Jeep guy. I hate even calling myself a Jeep guy. I'm an off-road guy, man. Like, I like to go play in the ground. I don't care what it is, whether it's a adventure bike or a Jeep or a truck or a freaking pre-runner or Ultra 4 car. Like, I'm happy as long as I'm behind the wheel and in the dirt, you know. And
your daily's a Honda Element.
So my daily's a Honda Element, you know.
It's lifted on 31s.
It's like a 29. It's a Kenda Cleaver RT. So, not that I'm sponsored by Kenda, but there's my plug for Kenda.
Got some cool off-roady lights on there too.
Yeah, man, got to have the lights before lockers, you know.
Hell yeah.
But anyway, going back to the event, you know, the focus is to get people involved, right? And I don't care what vehicle you drive, whether it's a Kia Sportage on 31s or up to a Gladiator on 37s or whatever, anything in between that. It's to get everybody together and say, hey, we're all in this thing. We all enjoy adventure. It doesn't matter what you're driving. Let's go have a good time.
Do you have any two-wheel drives participating?
I don't have two-wheel drives in this one.
Because that'd be fun. Like, do like a true gambler style of just.
Well, we got some gamblers. We got some gambler cars coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this is in partnership with the Gambler 500 as well. So the gentleman that's helping me with it, Sean, he's a gambler.
Sean Avery?
His name's Sean Amory.
Amory. Okay.
And
I know I sent him an email originally. And
yeah.
Sorry, I'm bad with names.
Yeah, Sean. I met Sean literally a year ago. January 1st, we met each other for the first time. He went on a ride with me on a guided trip.
Okay.
And we started talking, and one thing led to another, and like we talk to each other every day, and we just love to go out and explore. And he has a love for the Camel Trophy and Dakar and all that stuff too. He's a Porsche guy, actually. He had a Cayenne before he had his 4Runner.
Oh, that's cool.
And has a Porsche 944. He's going to do a Safari build in that, the LS swap and stuff. And
LS swap the world. I'm LS swapping a split bumper Camaro right now.
Okay. That's awesome, man. But yeah, so he and I, we just kept talking, and I was like, man, I got this route that I did, you know, a year ago. So we went and ran together, and then 6 days later, I went and did this run from Charleston, West Virginia up to Seneca Rocks, and that was kind of when it got it all started. It was like people saying, hey, you can't do that in under 24 hours. And I'm like, watch me.
Smoking the Bandit style.
Yeah. So I started linking some known routes together. So like the IMAT, which is by Brian Holmes. He's an adventure bike guy. My good friend Lanny, he built something called the TUAT, which is the Trans Virginia Adventure Trail.
Okay.
I've been on that a little bit.
Yeah, I've seen that on Gaia. I've seen some of those trails on Gaia.
And then some stuff that I mapped out for my tours. And I was like, well, I can just link all this together, you know. And I put it all together, and I showed a couple of friends, and they're like, you can't do that in 24 hours. There's no way. And I'm like, I like those odds.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing. That's my favorite thing to hear. You can't do that.
It's a good challenge.
It's a good challenge, you know.
I'll show you.
And I woke up like 5 a.m. one day and was like, let's get after it. And so I started out in Charleston, and I started watching my pace, and I was like, man,
Charleston or Charlestown?
Charleston, West Virginia.
Charleston, okay.
Yeah, the capital.
Okay.
And I wanted to start at the capital. That was my goal there. And so yeah, I started running, and I got to about Cass, West Virginia, just below the Monongahela National Forest. And I was like 8 hours in at that point, and my average pace was like 30 mile an hour, which is pretty good, you know, because it's a mix of like everything. And I started realizing, I was like, there's no way I can do this. This is easy, you know. And then I got a few more hours down the road, and I was like, man, now I'm getting really tired. Because it's like being...
Were you doing that solo too? No co-driver?
No co-driver, just by myself. And I was, you know, looking at Gaia the whole time and following the route. And I got to a certain point, and it was like, I was so tired that I started seeing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I've done that before.
Like you think there's a deer there, right?
Yep.
Or you think you hear stuff.
Oh, I drove ambulances for a living, and we were on 64 going to Virginia Beach, and it was one of those brown like attraction. The what are the brown signs? Those are the historic signs.
Yeah,
the parks.
And
stuff.
I was convinced there was a shopping cart in the middle of the road. It's just the delusion after driving that far. It's terrifying, but it's fun.
Yeah. And then I started, there was this long section of gravel. It was straight as can be. And I know that sounds crazy to think about. In West Virginia, there's a straight road with gravel, but there was, right? And it was following a river. And it's nighttime at this point. I got all my auxiliary lighting on. It looks like, I probably look like a spaceship going down the road. And like I started hearing stuff. Like it was like almost like American Indians or something beating on drums, and I was like, "What in the world is happening here? This is how tired I am," you know. And I started thinking about the dudes that run Baja and stuff and run an Ironman, and I'm like, those dudes are monsters.
They're like really in the middle of nowhere. Like
and we're really going fast. I wasn't even going fast. I was just like cruising, you know.
We're close to small towns. We know safety is like a phone call away.
Right.
These guys are in the middle of the desert doing the craziest shit.
Man, if those guys can do that, then and like I know I can do this, you know. And I started thinking, well, what if we did this big run a year from now or about a year from now and did it the whole state? And I got up to Davis and Thomas and, you know, did the Canaan Loop and stuff.
Davis.
And it's amazing. And
apparently they got a burrito we have to try.
Yeah, the Hellbenders burritos,
Yeah,
dude.
man, it's
got to do it. Dude, those
I told him
burritos.
on the way here, I was like, we are stopping there no matter what.
Well, because Freddie's a West Virginian through and through.
Yeah.
I'm a military baby, so I've lived all up and down the East Coast, but like I'm just getting my foyer, like just getting into the big off-roading stuff. Like I've done rock crawling, so I've been to all the parks.
Yeah.
But doing the backwoods stuff is pretty much brand new to me. I've done 2 overlanding trips.
Yeah.
I know the words.
It's a bad word.
It's a bad
curse
word. But I've done 2 overlanding trips.
Adventure travel.
Is adventure travel. Adventure wheeling with camping.
Yeah, there you go.
And this is going to be a challenge, but it's also going to be my first look into West Virginia.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that. And just copying, because I have it fully mapped based off your maps. I want to show you when we go off air. I want to show you my map and figure out how close I am.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Because I feel like I'm really close. But yeah, this is going to be my opening the door to West Virginia.
Yeah.
Because it's like a vast wilderness.
West Virginia is, in my opinion, obviously I'm biased because I live there, but this is based on a lot of people that I've had out guiding and talking to other people in the community. Like West Virginia is the last great frontier in a lot of people's minds for this type of hobby or sport or lifestyle.
Especially on the East Coast.
Yeah, especially on the East Coast.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing, like with Backroads, you know, we always tell people when we do presentations to like government officials and whoever we're talking to, one of the things we always remind people of is West Virginia and Kentucky, we are a day's drive from almost 65% of the population.
Yep.
So there's no reason that people can't drive over here and have a really good time over a long weekend and then go back home and tell their friends.
Yeah.
And that's our whole goal is get people here, show them a good time, show them some good terrain or good roads, whatever their sport is, you know, and have them take some cool pictures, you know, and have great memories, you know.
Well, and with the popularity, because I've got, or not me, but my buddy Tom, who's also a co-host, has a customer that is down at the KAT this weekend. And with the popularity of the KAT and the BDR, like we need... Not that we do need more trails. We need more public trails where people go and explore to keep the traffic down on everything.
Spread the love.
Yeah. But is this going to have a cool name, or are you going to give a cool name to this trail?
So this route, basically every time we do a 24-hour event, we're going to release the GPX file.
Yep.
Either the day, like middle of the day of, or day after.
Which is why I mapped it, because I am the planner, and I'm like, I have to know where we're going before the day of. I'm going to lose my mind.
This was like 5 weeks ago. He sent me the file. He's like, here, I think this is what it's going to be. He's got like fuel stops. I've got time intervals, restaurants. I've got the...
people ask me so many times, like, are there going to be fuel stops? I'm like, dude, I'm not going to send people out there to like run out of fuel. Like, I don't want to do that. But
even I asked you last week. I'm like, hey...
Yeah, there's plenty of fuel stops. I mean, gosh, if people get tired enough, there's hotels on the way. You know, like don't kill yourself. Go and stay in a hotel. But anyway, going back to the run last year, I got to Canaan and got out to past the Canaan Loop and got back on the main road and was heading back towards Seneca Rocks, and that's when I made the decision right there. It was like, we're doing this next year. And got to Yoakum's down at Seneca Rocks, and I went in there, and I was talking to a lady in there, and she's a Jeep and side-by-side lady, and her and her husband used to do that together, and he unfortunately passed away like a year before that, and I was telling her about what I just did, and she started crying. She was like, I am so inspired by that, and she's like, you have to do this for other people, because there's other people out there that want to do this too.
Oh, yeah.
And that sealed it for me. I was like, I'm going to do this for this lady.
And that run was only 400 miles, right?
Yeah, so it was 400 and I have to look at the file. It's like 402 or something. 402 miles, and it was 13 hours and 30 seconds. Or 30 minutes. 13 hours and 30 minutes, yeah.
That's hucking it.
That's hucking it.
Well,
it's following the state rules and regulations, but you did it quickly.
Yeah. So, and with stops. Like, I stopped every now and then to take pictures, or like, there was a moment I got up to, I think it was a Cheap Mountain or Middle Mountain, and Of course, it had snowed like 2 days before that, so there was still some snowfall on the ground, and there wasn't much traffic out that day. It was kind of a random, like really slow day, and I stopped and turned my Jeep off, and was like, it was so quiet that I could almost hear my heartbeat.
It's beautiful.
Like you could hear the blood almost flowing through your veins. That's how quiet it was. And like, dude, that was a spiritual moment.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things that I look forward to for some of these people that are going to come do this thing. Like they're going to have those moments where they stop and like, man, this is magical. And that's the beauty of Appalachia. Like it's right here at our doorstep. And we want to showcase that in the best way possible and responsibly. And I think this is one of the best ways to do that, go out for a really long drive with your friends.
Yeah. Yeah. We did the BDR, me and my wife, father-in-law, her sister, like it was a family trip. We did part of the BDR and we stayed at Big Bend Campground.
Yep.
Holy moly. That's one of the nicest, not amenities. They were good. It's a national park or national forest campground, hard sites, but just how quiet, even with people around us, just how quiet it was. No cell service, yep. just escaping and just being there.
Yeah.
Actually being present and not being able to look at your phone and just kind of existing. But that's that being quiet and just kind of being present.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. A lot of people, they want that, they crave that. And that's what Appalachia provides for folks is the ability to go out and really reset and think about, where you are in life, what you're doing. Unplug. Just have some solace for a moment.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate enough to live there and live it every day.
Yeah.
And then super thankful for that. I'm glad my parents actually was born in Manassas, Virginia.
Okay.
And
it's right up the road from us.
Yeah. So moved back when I was a year old, and looking back at that now, I'm like, man, I'm so glad that I got to grow up here.
Yeah.
And I hear it all the time. People are like, "Oh, there's nothing to do there," because my friends,
there's so much to do.
There's so much to do. Just go outside, get off your phone, and get in your vehicle, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be an off-road vehicle. Just go out and drive a little bit, man. You'll find something super cool. I promise you.
Yeah. So, Appalachia. So I live technically in Appalachia because I live on
the Appalachian Trail.
The Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
But I live between the Appalachian Trail and the Shenandoah River.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "What do you do out there? You can't go to any bars. You can't do." I'm like, well, if I want to go to a bar, I can go to Winchester.
Yeah.
But also, I live next to.
go to the store and buy some beer and drink it at home.
Exactly. Yeah. and do a campfire and hang out. But I live next to a 1,700-mile hiking trail and the Shenandoah River. There's so much to do back here. It's so much fun.
And some of the best public access roads that you could ever ask for.
Yeah.
Well, in Loudon, where I live, there's 313 miles of dirt road.
Yeah.
And you're not finding that anywhere else in Virginia.
Yeah. So I was actually hanging out with one of the delegates that we work with, Delegate Lori Calger Dittman. She's in Braxton County, West Virginia. And so Braxton County has over 300 miles of gravel.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, bro, that is an adventure motorcycles paradise.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people do it. And then we intersect with the Trans VA Trail.
Yeah.
And it's probably...
I got to get that trail. I've heard about the Trans VA Trail. I've not.
15 minutes from me.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, you got the Shenandoah Trail, which Lanny did, Adventure Horizons, and you got the TVAT, and then you got Toward the Coalfields, which is another good one down in southern West Virginia.
The BDR comes right past Harper's Ferry.
Yep.
Then you got Brian Holmes, his company or organization is called the IMAT. So it's Infamous Adventure Tours. So he's a venture bike guy, but obviously everything kind of translates to Jeeps and full-size vehicle too. But you have the IMAT and the SciMat, and those all kind of follow the 219 corridor up through Seneca and everything. Okay. And man, you start linking all this stuff together, and dude, you could spend a lifetime exploring this stuff.
People go out west and spend months, but you could spend months out here.
Probably even longer.
Yeah.
So coming from Manassas, I guess born in Manassas, not coming from Manassas. How did you, and then you moved to West Virginia shortly after you were born. What was your introduction into the off-road stuff or just the automotive stuff?
Yeah. So my dad had a 40 series Land Cruiser.
Okay.
And I called it the Zoom Zoom because it had an exhaust leak. So every time you drive it, you go zoom, zoom.
Do any of them not have an exhaust leak though?
Huh?
Do any of them not have an exhaust
right,
leak?
Yeah.
No, they all leak. Every one of them.
Yeah. But so my dad and I, he was working at a gravel quarry at the time, running equipment. Okay. And so sometimes I'd ride to work with him and watch him run equipment. And like on the way home, we would hit a back road, just to hang out and spend time together. And truly, that was what got it all started. And then my mom, she was just as much into it as my dad. So one day, randomly, she went and traded her Dodge Durango in for a Land Rover Discovery.
Nice. Okay.
And that was like almost the end of the Camel Trophy style Land Rovers. And had kind of like that livery on it too.
Nice.
It's kind of cool. But we started riding around on that. It's had ARB bumper and everything. And like...
So you were born into it. You didn't find yourself into it as like an adult. You were like...
Yeah, that's how my son is.
Indoctrinated into it.
We hit dirt roads and rock, and we've been wheeling. And we had him... He was not even 2 yet, and I had him in the back seat of my YJ in a car seat.
That's
we
right.
were stuck in mud.
Rock crawling.
So that sounds like my kid, man. So I have 2 sons, 3 and 4, and within 2 weeks of them being out of the womb, they were in car seats and Jeeps.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Doors off, and people are like, "Why are you driving with the doors off?" I'm like, "It's fine."
Yeah, we're not going fast.
I'm going to make sure that they're screwed for the rest of their life financially because they're going to be addicted to this.
Well, guess what? They're not going to have money for drugs.
Right.
They're going to be driving rigs, or cars or something. But yeah, and then like growing up, we always had ATVs. Most of it was like utility bikes. But once I was like preteen, I figured out what Supercross and motocross was.
Oh yeah.
And that was the end of it.
So you were dirt bikes too?
Red dirt bikes, ATV, race quads. I had, YZ250Fs, LTR 450 Suzuki, all of them like built, running race gas and stuff. And
hell yeah.
I had a motocross track literally in my front yard. Some folks moved in from Maryland and they were motocross racers too. So that kind of like influenced it. And one day my dad, he had his own business and ran heavy equipment. And the boy came over and was like, "Hey man, can you like help us with our track?" And Dad was like, "Can my kid ride on it?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, we don't care." So we built this track, and they were only there for the weekends usually. So we built this track, and I used to ride every day, all day, 8 hours a day.
That's awesome.
And that was growing up. And then my dad, he bought an XJ Jeep Cherokee.
Hell yeah, brother.
And 5-speed, 4-door, forest green, and we started building that, and that thing went through several iterations of its life, and it became mine when I was 16. And
it's a great first car.
Yeah,
it was great. And we swapped axles and gears and just all kinds of stuff, and that was my rig. And I haven't there was about a 5-year period I didn't have a rig because I was into guns. And I decided that I needed a car to go to shooting matches.
You needed to choose an expensive hobby.
Right.
You chose the wrong one.
Yeah.
You chose one.
But yeah, it's always been in the blood.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's
Matt,
awesome.
tell us your story of your off-road and gearhead life.
Well, let's see. I guess I started really off-roading probably 10 or so years ago. I had an old Ford truck I would drive to or from work, and somebody traded in a third-gen 4Runner at the dealership I worked at. And I had just recently seen one that was lifted prior to this, and I said, "Man, hey, there's one. I want it." So I traded my Ford truck in for it, and then that same weekend I had it out on a trail, and I was instantly hooked. And I don't really know how to describe it any way than that. The first time I hit dirt with it, I was like, "Man, this is awesome. I want to do this as much as I can." And I just kind of took off from there, and
it's been a downhill spiral ever since.
Downhill financial spiral from that day. But I've slowed down on wheeling a lot in the last couple of years. I've got 2 kids now, married. Yeah. We just opened up a business in Beckley, Beaver, which is just outside of Beckley. And wheeling has kind of been put on the back burner, but I'm hoping this year to try to get back out on the trails some more. And the big first one for the year is going to be the 24 Hours of Appalachia. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, we were talking about that on the way down, and wheeling on the rocks is fun, but now that I have a son and he's more interested in it, and it's like I just want to go out in the woods, middle of nowhere, camp, hit roads.
Yeah.
And if there's some rocks involved, then there's some rocks involved.
I think it's a big push on the East Coast and nationally to get out to the national forest more opposed to parks because the price of parks is going up.
Yeah.
Right.
Like everywhere they're going up. I mean, the event
it's like $10, $15 a year every time they've gone up in entry fees and then camping fees,
site fees, access to the campground. Like if you want to take your family wheeling for a weekend at one of these parks, you're going to spend $500 a weekend,
right,
just to break your junk in the woods.
Right.
When the best part of camping is, or the best part of wheeling is camping and hanging out and shooting the shit with your buddies afterwards.
Right.
Like, and that's the big push I'm making this year is like, I've got my rock crawl. I've got a Cherokee rock crawler.
Yeah.
33s, long arms, lockers, light bars. Obviously, you can't not have light bars.
First, light bars first.
Light bars first.
Then lockers.
Actually, that's exactly what I did was light bars first. It was the first thing I did was my light bar. But yeah, just the cost of it so damn high.
Right.
So the national forests, not national parks, because you park at parks and you explore the forests. That's how my buddy explained it to me, Sean with Terra Overland. He was my first guide out in the George Washington National Forest, and I'm like, so what's the difference between a park and a national forest? And he explained it just that way. You park at a national park and go walk around. A national forest, you get in your vehicle and you explore.
Yeah.
And you go hunting, you go shooting. I'm like, that's the best way to explain it.
Right. It's so true, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually had a meeting with a gentleman that works in the Monongahela.
Okay.
And he actually...
Beautiful, the Monongahela.
He used to actually work for the BLM out west.
Okay.
And one of his things was he helped Best in the Desert and SCORE with their races. He did the permitting for that, right? So he understands this stuff at a very high level. And he's part of this 24 hours thing. He's helping with some of the permitting so we can use some of the roads. And so he's like super pumped, and he's glad to see that there's obviously us younger folks interested in being serious about this stuff and embracing like tread lightly and responsibility and going out and enjoying stuff. And he actually told me, he was like, man, if there's a way that we can bring people here, and I'll even open gates for you guys at where people don't normally go, provided it's a sanctioned event, obviously. Yeah. You know, I would help you pick the best spots to camp because I know every single one of them, and that's part of his job. He goes out and drives around, right?
Awesome. And if he's a lover and supporter of the off-road lifestyle, then he wants to get more people involved. So we don't. I know you said don't get political. So we don't lose land like they're losing out west. Yeah. So we don't lose our trails because out here everything's already private and it's already managed by not the BLM but the National Park Service, and there's so many restrictions that. If we don't have people exploring, they're just going to start closing more trails. Right. So the push from you guys is to just get out there and go explore so that we don't lose this.
Right. So his thing was, obviously he's a proponent of Tread Lightly. He works directly with Tread Lightly on a lot of projects. And he said that, anything that we can do to get people here and do it the right way, we're for it.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And he's an adventure bike guy. Regularly, so he's got a Deere Z400. That's what he told me. And
so bad.
Yeah, me too. Right?
It's on my list.
Dude, I was so close to buying a bike last year. So close.
But yeah, I mean, he goes out and rides these roads just like us, and super pumped. Overall, like the feedback I've gotten from a lot of the government people are like they're just like us too. They just want to go and enjoy this stuff and want people to do it responsibly. And anything like the outpouring of support that I've had from the government level for this thing. For this, all of this, really, overlanding and off-road, it's actually positive. Like a lot of people think that most government officials are like, kind of a prude and they don't want people out in the woods. Well, they do. They just want us to do it the right way.
Responsibly.
Yeah.
Not throw stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Leave stuff, break stuff, and leave it. You see that a lot too. People will break something on their rig and it just gets left in the woods.
Yeah.
It's like, you've got this.
Or burned.
Yeah. We made it a point. So there's a park we hit up pretty regularly. It's called the Cove.
Yeah.
And it's in Virginia. And I've made it a point every time we go out just to see who can pick up the most trash in the rig. So beer cans.
It's like a gambler event.
Yeah. And we've started doing that every time we go out. And you'll come back with 20, 40 beer cans and all kinds of trash. It's terrible.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like, I don't know what we have to do to get people to realize they need to stop doing that because that is exactly how we lose this stuff.
It is 100%.
And that's one thing I always try to teach my sons, and I'm sure you do too. Is you don't put trash down. You put it in the car and you throw it in the trash can at the gas station.
Yeah, they make these.
What's
nice
so hard about that?
They make these nice spare tire trash bags. You can just the inside of the car doesn't have to smell.
Right.
Just throw it somewhere in the vehicle. Bring it with you out. Leave it cleaner than you found it.
I always make it a point to make sure I have Walmart bags in my rig.
Okay.
And that's what I put. I fill Walmart bag, one more Walmart bag at a time. But I haven't got to the trasharoo level yet. But we will.
Oh yeah, you got to get the trasharoo.
Yeah.
Oh, I had to. Once I decided to buy the 2-door JK, I'm like, I got to get. You can't not have a trasharoo.
There you go. Yeah.
It seems like it's the opposite out here is happening instead of out west, because I know in Maryland there's a park, not a park, but trails that used to be privately owned that now are public.
OHV stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I think the same thing in Canaan Valley, because a lot of those trails were never open to the public before.
Well, they've been open. They just weren't advertised.
Right.
You know?
I think probably in the last 3 years is when they really started to get a lot of traction.
Well, the big thing, in regards, we're talking about, you were starting to allude to something that we refer to as over tourism, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there's other places to go run. And that's the thing that
It's not just Flagpole Knob.
It's not just Flagpole. Right. It's not just Canaan. There is a whole state, a whole bunch of states.
Yeah, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania.
Kentucky. There's a plethora of routes and roads out there. And a little plug for my state, the West Virginia DOH, they're actually kind enough to publish the PDFs that actually showcase the actual legal right-of-ways for every road in the state per county. And that's one of the things, that's how I build a lot of these routes, is I make sure to download those maps so that I can reference those and make sure that we're following the rules. And along with the MVM, the National U.S. Forest Service MVM, and that's how we start linking the stuff together. And so I didn't realize how many right-of-ways there were in my county that are awesome. Like, you want to get your rig and some stuff, it's public right-of-way, and it's also really interesting technical terrain.
Yeah, so when I was doing the BDR in the fall, some of the public right-of-ways are like, I feel like I shouldn't be here, but I know I did my research, and I know this is where the trail takes me, and this is where I'm supposed to go, but it's like, this doesn't feel right. There's cows. I had to go across a cattle grate, like through fences. I'm like, where the hell am I?
But you can still be 3 miles from the center of town and be in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. That's the beautiful thing about Appalachia, is like you can literally feel like you're truly in the wild, and you're only a few minutes walk. Mm-hmm. If you had to get to someone's house to say, "Hey, I broke something," and it's not like that out west.
No,
you will die.
If you don't have water,
you don't have water, you're going to die. It's a lot safer here, and we have more pockets of phone service. People always talk about, well, there's no phone service. Yeah, there is. Walk a little ways. You'll find
the top of the hill. You'll find phone service.
Yeah, exactly.
And on the water thing out here, there's so many natural spots to pick up water at.
Exactly, and it's good water.
Right, it's good water.
Really good
doesn't
water.
Berkeley Springs have like the #1 water source in the world? Didn't they win the?
So there's actually several springs in the Appalachian chain that win water awards all the time. So actually, where I grew up at in Monroe County, there's a company called Sweet Springs Water, and they've been #1 in the world several years in a row. I don't think
best water,
for best quality water, best tasting, mineral content, etc. And all of that is based on in the Appalachian range. It's a very karst environment. So what karst means is limestone, right? So when you have limestone, you have good filtration. So that means the water, you have good minerals, and it's going to taste really good. So we have the best water, we have the best roads.
Yeah, the first time I was out with Sean with Terra Overland.
Yeah.
I keep plugging him. He's awesome. I love Sean and Terra Overland. We pulled up to a pipe sticking out of the mountain.
Right, that's how they are.
And he's like, "Hey, that's good water. Go drink that." I'm like, "Excuse me? That's just black pipe hanging out of the side of a mountain." He's like, "I promise, drink it." I'm like,
water you'll get.
That's delicious water.
Yeah, there's so my parents live in Cumberland.
Yeah.
And
love Cumberland. It's beautiful.
From our house in Virginia to their house, there's 2 different spots where you can pick
Just
up
natural springs.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So along the route in February, I can count at least 10 springs.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So, and if you run the overland layer on Gaia, they're indicated on there. I'm pretty sure.
So I've only used Gaia a few times, but does it differentiate asphalt versus gravel or dirt? Okay.
So the overland layer in Gaia is really good about typically really good about showcasing actual dirt roads and gravel.
Well, it'll showcase different styles of dirt roads too. Yeah. Public dirt roads, private dirt roads, and then the different maintenance levels of them too, I believe.
Yeah, depending on which layer you use, right? Yeah. And there's a multitude of layers that you can download and utilize. I use the MVM layer a lot, obviously, to find good US 4 service roads, and then the overland layer. And there's also some cool historical layers that my wife and I really enjoy utilizing. Maps from like the 1900s,
that's cool.
the 1930s. It's like when we're out in these back road drives, something I kept noticing was like, man, these trees are really big to the left and right of this right of way. And I started thinking, I was like, well, they're big trees. They've been here for a while. And I was like, wait a minute. There's got to be a way to find some historical maps. And lo and behold, there's a map layer on Gaia from the 1900s, and you can literally see sometimes roads that have been in existence for over 100 years.
That's wild.
And we are driving them in our full-size vehicle where there used to be a horse and buggy that used to go across this.
Single track,
we
though,
think
yeah.
we're hardcore.
Yeah.
Those people were hardcore.
Yeah, no suspension, wooden wheels, metal rings.
Yeah, metal rings, wood wheels, awful.
And I'm in hell in my heated seats, just bouncing down the road.
This guy.
So what's you got a huge turnout for this. Like I messaged you, and you messaged me back, and I had to make a decision, and then I messaged you back like 6 hours later, like, sorry, we're full. What's the range of people? This is a shitty question. Let me figure out how I want to say this.
Geographic area where they're coming from.
How far is the furthest person coming from?
I want to say we have almost every state represented.
No
Holy
way.
shit.
I feel pretty confident in saying that. I know there were some people from out west that are like Ultra 4 guys.
Okay.
That were interested.
Well, that's wild because
I don't know if
it's
they're
also
coming or not. I can't remember.
it's
exactly,
the weekend of
but-
Hammers.
Yeah, same weekend as Hammers. But there were some people coming from out west.
Wild.
So I think I emailed like right away. Like you guys posted on Wednesday, and I was emailing that morning.
Yeah.
How long did it take to get full?
Really, under 24 hours.
Yeah, because I was the first reserve spot before you opened up again. You're like, hey, you're the first one. I'll send you the GPX file. It's all for fun. And I'm like, yeah, it is all for fun. Like, it doesn't matter whether I'm running or not. Then you put out the Facebook post saying, hey, we're extending it 25. If you got the reserve spot, you're now in.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the thing. We opened it, and then we got a bunch of emails, and I hit Sean up. I was like, Sean, we're at 50 people already. What's another 25? It's not like we're running a big train of people. We're releasing these in staggers, right? So he was like, let's do it. And then so it's actually more than 75 people, by the way.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, with media and support cars?
No,
There's another class.
here's the breakdown, right? So we have 75 full-size vehicles.
Okay.
And then what I consider that is like your Kia Sportage all the way up to the built Jeeps, you know. And then we have a class just for Subarus.
That's cool.
That's
John
badass.
So there was some Subaru guys that were like, we absolutely have to do this. Please let us in. And I was like, fine. Okay, whatever. Well, and I knew they could do it because guess what? Like 2 months before that we announced that, we did the Gambler 500 and there was a bunch of Subarus there. So I was like, I knew they could do this.
Does Sean have a Subaru?
Yeah, Sean's got a Subaru. I think he has an Outback.
Yeah, because my buddy John, he has an Outback wagon.
Yeah.
He like emailed in, and I was like, dude, I hope you get in.
Yeah.
And then he emailed me back, and I think it was Sean emailing back saying, I've got a Subaru too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get all of them in.
Well,
here.
and the market is so saturated with Jeeps.
Yeah.
You need something else. If you want to get any sort of attention,
right.
I don't know. I guess you guys are looking to get attention on a national level to help.
It wasn't intended, but it ended up like that.
Yeah, it ended up like that. But if it's all one vehicle, people aren't as interested. Even though they're Jeeps and the Jeep community is huge.
I'm gonna make a lot of people mad with what I'm about to say. I'm a Jeep owner, but I hate Jeeps.
Oh, I do too. I got a sticker for you. Hold on.
Yeah, they have a shirt that says.
I have it with me.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some hate mail for that, but. You know, like I said earlier,
I don't have the anti-Jeep Club, but we got the Kill All Jeep sticker.
I love it. I'll put that on my element.
Hell yeah!
But
yeah, we are officially the anti-Jeep Club
And
because
we're both Jeep owners.
Yeah.
Have been Jeep owners.
I've had 3 Jeeps in my life. I hate Jeeps, but I love Jeeps.
So here's why I have that feeling, right? So now, just because I want to clear this up so that no one gets it twisted. I like Jeeps that go wheel and use their stuff.
Yes.
And I like people that are curious and they want to learn. But when people refuse to learn how to do stuff responsibly and they go out and just rip and roar and they break their Chinese Amazon parts, that's not cool to me because you're giving all of us in the off-road community a bad rap. And if people just would humble themselves, right, and go and get some proper training, hang out with people that actually use their rigs.
That's what we're all about.
That's what we want. We want to bring you into the fold, but just come here and join us, right? And we'll teach you the right way to do it. It's not about going through the mall.
Yeah, it's not about rubber duckies and waving at each other.
My license plate is mall rated.
I love it. But yeah, that's the thing. Like this event is going to really open a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah,
that from the outside looking in, that there is a community of people out here that have all kinds of crazy vehicles that are super capable. It doesn't have to say Jeep on the front. It doesn't have to say Toyota on the front. I mean, I got two dudes in a ZR2 Blazers from the early 2000s.
That's awesome.
I think I saw that one.
Yeah.
That is sweet.
Those rigs are cool. Like I thought that was cool when I was a kid. I was like, that's a cool looking rig, you know? Because like I said, I grew up with a Toyota 40 Series Land Cruiser and a Land Rover. Like, I didn't get into Jeeps. I was in like my teens, you know? But like seeing that Kia Sportage and the other random things that we've spread in there, it's like, this is going to be such a spectacle for people to see that there are other options out there for all budgets too. That's the other thing. There's something for every budget, and there's a way to get out there and have fun.
Well, chances are you have something in your driveway that you can go, whether it's a 4x4 or whatever, you have something in your driveway that you can go adventure in.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Well, it's like you said earlier, there's our two-wheel drive class. No, there isn't a two-wheel drive class, but
There could be.
there could be one for the summer.
Listen,
Maybe I'll consider that.
I got a 2009 Hyundai Sonata that has 309,000 miles on it. I will put some all-terrains on that thing and a light bar, and
Safari.
I will go, hell
Look,
yeah.
we
Safari.
passed a lifted Crown Vic on the way here. And I was
Did we?
like,
I was too focused on not dying.
Dude, we for the Gambler this past is it September?
I think it was September.
So there was a dude that showed up in a Crown Vic on 35s.
That's dope.
It was so sick. Had 456 gears. I had a Detroit tree track in the rear, I think. That thing went everywhere without hesitation.
Yeah.
And he drove it down the road, one finger on the steering wheel, loving life.
That's
And
awesome.
with his AC and heated seats.
Hell yeah.
Had the time, and it went everywhere that there was even people like with newer rigs, like lifted, jacked up rigs, and they were like scratching their heads, like, how can this happen?
driver mod.
Driver skill, proper setup, tire pressure.
Yeah. Well, tire pressure makes a big difference no matter what. That's one of the big things. So me and Freddie are going to do an episode where we talk about strategy. We're going to record that next week. But that's one of the things that I'm considering is if we have to maintain, not have to maintain, but if we're doing 25 to 35 miles an hour on dirt roads, what tire pressure am I going to run? That's the biggest question. My biggest concern right now is trying to figure out
Which tire pressure?
Like 18 to 22 is what I'm thinking. So I can maintain a comfortable ride and a decent speed without shaking myself to death or my Jeep to death.
So here's what I run, and I'm running a WJ on 33s.
Yeah, it's beautiful, by the way.
I should have
you.
brought my RC. I forgot it. I got
That's right. Yeah, you have the RC cars. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I run 25 every day.
Okay.
Now I'm on a 10-ply tire with a 3-ply sidewall, so it's a heavy tire.
Mm-hmm.
But and then if I go like say Potts Mountain, then I'm dropping to like 12.
Okay.
But for everyday driving and a lot of gravel and some dirt, 25 is like I found that number for me for my vehicle weight and my setup is perfect.
Yeah, I found around 12 is good too when I was up at Canadian Valley. And then in Maryland too, more or less just fire roads and stuff. But we were running like 12 or 15.
Yeah.
For crawling, I'm real down. I'm down real
37
low, like
LT tire.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
heavy rig.
Right. Yeah.
10 to 12 is where I run when I'm crawling. But
Yeah, so but your rig's way lighter.
Yeah.
You don't have big bumpers or
Correct.
tire carry or any of that. So you'd be probably good around.
that's one thing that I've been talking to my co-driver about too is like when it comes to air pressure, he's like, oh, we'll just air up and air down. I'm like, that's going to take too much time.
Can't do it.
It's going to take way too much time. So if you're planning that, if you're listening to this podcast and you're running the event, don't plan to air up and air down. Find a good tire pressure, run some dirt roads, and find where your vehicle's happy.
So the other thing too is there's pavement in this too. I mean, you're going to run some 2-lane, you're on a single lane. There's literally every single road surface that you can think of is in this route.
And
Do you
based
know
on
the percentage of what's dirt versus
60-40
Okay. 60 dirt and
dirt gravel.
yeah, cool.
So based off your map that you shared on your private Facebook pages, you got up to about 70 miles an hour on paved road too.
Yeah, because I went across the New River Gorge Bridge.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
I haven't been down there in a while.
I think it's 70 there. I may have sped, but
I think
it was close, but you don't want to be doing
He's driving on a
70
closed
miles.
road.
You don't want to be doing 70 miles an hour
On 12 PSI.
On 12 psi.
No.
You're gonna You're going to hurt yourself and someone else.
So I will go ahead and divulge part of the route. So, it does not hit any major interstates or highways. Like there's U.S. routes like 219. You'll hit 219. Like we do go under the New River Gorge Bridge under Fayette Station Road, which sadly people are going to hit that at nighttime, so they won't be able to see the bridge. But hey, you at least been there.
Yeah,
I've been there in the day. It's awesome.
We were talking about that on the way down here. It's like we're going to get to explore West Virginia, but like
at night.
Most of it's going to be at like 14 hours of darkness.
Yeah. So the driver meeting is at 9:30.
Yeah. So driver's meeting will be at 9:30. We'll have about a 30-minute meeting, and then we'll start sending rigs out at 10 a.m.
Yeah. So it won't be too bad. Still a lot of daylight driving there.
Yeah. So based on my estimations, you will have daylight up until about, I think Marlington, Lewisburg area.
Okay.
Depends on what time you get
So
released.
down when you turn is Lewisburg. That's almost down at New River Gorge.
No, so
I don't know.
Lewisburg is southeast of the New River Gorge.
Okay.
But we're actually not going through Lewisburg. We're going through Williamsburg.
Okay.
So Williamsburg is a very historical coal and timber town. It actually had its own school and like a bunch of shops and stuff, but now it's just like nothing. But that'll be a pit stop. I did find out that one of the ladies that works for the Children's Home Society, she's going to be there giving away coffee and snacks.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
So that's one of the things too. We're encouraging people to I put that list out of spectator locations on our Facebook that people can come hang out and congregate, and we encourage that because people that are driving this are going to be really tired. I know you guys are going to be really tired. Uh-huh. So you have some people clapping out there, it's probably going to give you some encouragement. So anybody listening to that, definitely check that list out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm also trying to come up with a strategy for that. I don't do any nicotine, but I'm like, maybe I'll pop a Zenny to keep me awake.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, so Matt and I were on the way here. We were joking about Adderall and like maybe we should get a prescription for Adderall. I was like, no,
it's not just a weekend prescription.
No, you're gonna find out you're actually ADD and it actually just helps you.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that on the way up. I'm like, I gotta really try to limit my caffeine because I don't want to be
overstimulated.
8 monsters in.
Yeah, just shaking.
Yeah. So I did find that you get into this rhythm and you're gonna laugh, but so like coming from the shooting world, right? And so my background's in the military, and then also training people for defensive use of
what
firearms.
branch?
I was an Army.
Okay,
I was an engineer, so yeah. But anyway, like teach like tactical breathing, right? So I'm not telling people to go out there and hyperventilate, but one of the things I found myself doing sometimes when I'm doing these long runs is I forget to breathe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
make sure you're breathing so that you stay focused and you're alert. Because like you'll get in these tense moments and you're like, oh, and it tenses you up and you have a big adrenaline dump. And you're like, that's what wears you out. Yep. Like there is a method like the dudes racing Baja and stuff. They focus on their breathing.
Water,
lots of water. Okay. If you have to stop and pee, then so be it. If you want to be really, really OG and get a catheter.
Well, you got to think too, because we're all going to be in this pretty much the same position for a minimum of 20 hours.
Yeah.
So make sure your seat's comfortable.
Yep.
Heated seats.
Heated seats, definitely a must. I have heated seats in my Grand Cherokee. They work great. So
that's why I love the Grand Cherokees.
That's right. It's a good platform.
Oh yeah.
But so some of the considerations I tell people is drink plenty of water. Don't overstimulate yourself with coffee, and you space that stuff out. Try to reduce. Number one, you don't want to be speeding a bunch, so you don't put yourself at risk, and you don't have a bunch of adrenaline dumps because it's like if you have a bunch of adrenaline dumps, it's like being in a car wreck for 24 hours.
Well, so I imagine don't want to be speeding just because of that,
right.
But also with the attention to safety. But I also imagine there's gonna be a lot of inspectors and cops. Everyone's gonna have the route. Everyone knows the route, so people are gonna be watching where you don't expect them to be. Right. So be safe all the time.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, when I had the meetings with the government emergency management folks, they were super supportive, but at the same breath, they obviously have to think about safety, as do I and everyone else involved. But
yeah, I appreciate you getting the channel 17 for emergencies and safety.
And that 17 will be monitored by our recovery team. So we have some mobile units that'll be actually in the pack running with you guys. I have one gentleman, Mr. Harris. He's a vet and he's really into comms. So he's got like every comm system known to man in his Gladiator, and he's got like 12-foot whip antennas and stuff. And so I was like, all right, well, guess what? You're going to be in the middle of the pack and you'll be able to listen to everything. someone keys the mic, he's going to hear it.
Yeah, I upgraded to some GMRSs.
Yeah.
For this because my Jeep did have a CB in it, and I was like,
CBs are so outdated.
And every time I wheel with him, he's got a GMRS, and it's like, man, I really need something better. So it's a perfect excuse to spend some money.
What I do is actually I run a ham radio, and I just program the GMRS.
The Bofang, pretty much.
Yeah, Bofang, and program the GMRS channels in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I also have 3 ruggeds that we're going to have a friend running media. So taking pictures and doing all that stuff. And we're going to leave fuel with him. So that way, if we do run out of fuel, it's a no chase event. But if we need fuel...
I'm not saying that people can't chase. I just don't want them to run the same route.
Correct, yeah.
You can leapfrog around. I don't care what you do there.
I'm going to keep 2 cans of fuel, 10 gallons of fuel in his truck, and also a spare tire.
Perfect. So then let's wait for you. Less things sloshing around.
Yeah. But we're gonna talk on a separate channel on the ruggeds.
Yeah.
So it's just on like BFG Pit or one of the regular rugged channels. So we're not interfering with regular chat.
Right.
I assume you're not planning for chatter on 22 or 17. It is just communication.
17 is the emergency use channel only, but 22, I'm kind of thinking that people are still going to talk. Like I'm not saying that you can't have conversations. I just don't want it to be super long.
Yeah. Leave the air open.
What'd you have for dinner last night?
Yeah. Like, hey, there's a potential risk up here. There's a tree hanging in the road, or there's a rock laid out in the road.
So keep 22 on scan, and then talk on a different channel.
Right.
That's a big thing. I come from a fire background, and the big thing with fire is do not talk on the radio unless it's absolutely necessary.
That's right.
Because someone has something more important than you to say.
Right.
That came out right. But yeah, comms are always very difficult to figure out.
Well, this is definitely going to be a test of everyone's setups. You're going to find a lot of things that you don't like about what you're using. And that's coming from a background in the firearms industry is the best way to learn how your gun sucks is to go shoot it.
Yep.
And the best gun you have is the gun that you've got in your hand.
That's right. Exactly. Same thing with your rig. The best rig that you can have is the one that you're driving right now and make it work. People want to buy their way into stuff. You don't do that. You invest your way into use. Don't buy all the things. Buy gas. Go buy gas and drive it.
Figure out what you want to upgrade, change.
Right.
Well, and that was the biggest thing is with my buddy owning a shop, with Tom owning a shop, the biggest question I get is, what's your first upgrade? What's the first upgrade I have to do on my vehicle? I don't know. Go drive it.
Go drive it.
Go figure out what you actually want to do and then upgrade it from there for your needs. Not, a stock Jeep is 2.5 inches and 35s. Don't immediately go to a stock Jeep. Just wheel it factory stock and then figure out if you actually need the lift in 35s or if you're just going to do like maybe a winch, maybe some math tracks, whatever the hell you want to call them. Like it's driver specific. Mods are very driver specific
and purpose specific. So like if you're a rock crawler, then you want 37s possibly. Maybe even 35s. Or bigger.
So you have what's the biggest tire that's running in this event? Is it 37?
37 is the cutoff. I do have one of the recovery actually 2 of the recovery assets are 40s.
Okay.
But that was on purpose. So
my thing with 37s is you're an Ultra 4 guy. You watch Ultra 4.
Yeah.
What is the EMC? What's the biggest tire for EMC?
37s, right?
35 or 37?
35. I'm pretty sure.
Well, 4400 class, that's 37s, right? Or 40s. I can't remember.
No, it's not 40s.
4400 class is any size. You can run any size in 44. Okay. I'm pretty sure for the stock class, the 4800 class is 35s. Yeah. The 4600 is 37s. So if these guys are doing Johnson Valley on 37s, you can do 31s. Whatever the hell you want on 31s.
Yeah.
And I made that point with my Cherokee is I specifically have, it's a P metric size. They measure out to 32.5.
Yeah.
And I'll put that thing anywhere.
Yeah. It literally goes anywhere.
Yeah. It's for sale.
Well, it's like my previous rig before this one was a ZJ Grand Cherokee.
Yep.
Silver one. Had a 5.9 hood. Wasn't a 5.9, but 318. And I ran a short arm rough country.
Yep.
Crappiest lift you can buy and made it work.
But if it works, it works.
It worked well. It worked great. I had a rear locker in it, open in the front. I started out with a set of 31s, went to a 265, 75, 16, which is almost a 32. And then I went to a 33, 9.5 before I sold it. And by the way, I'm a tall, skinny guy. I like tall, skinny tires. But it's my plug there. But that rig has done pots a couple times. It's done, pretty much everything that is publicly accessible, within the Appalachian region, and done it without really any problems.
Yeah.
I've had to winch a couple times, but that's what the winch is for. And guess what? I'm not going to break anything.
Yeah, it really comes back down to driver mod.
Right.
That's the biggest mod you can do.
Right.
And we were talking about winches on the way down here. He asked me if I was going to put a winch on the JK, and I'm like, I've had a winch on my Cherokee for 5 years. I've used it twice. I've never actually had to use it because there was someone else there to get me out.
Right.
Winches are nice. I think it's just jewelry.
Right.
Because if you're wheeling, you should be wheeling with a buddy.
Agreed.
If one person gets stuck, the fastest way to get them out is just to pull them.
Yep.
Right.
And you should never have two people stuck at the same time.
Yep.
Send one person in, pull them out.
Yeah,
Winches are nice if you are doing some solo adventuring. You should never
Or
do
rock crawling.
Yeah, you should never do solo adventuring. You should always have someone with you. But the max tracks, I have to say that word right, man. Zach made so much fun of me at Overland Expo. The max tracks are pretty sweet.
That was one of the things, like I made the requirement. You can either have a winch, a high lift jack, or max tracks.
Yeah.
Or even a freaking come along.
Something.
As long as you have one of those things, you're good.
Yeah.
Because between those 4 options, you can probably get yourself out of something.
Well, another easy option is just air down a little more. If you're stuck,
Hey, look at that.
Yeah,
and
if
it's
you're-
free.
It's free, absolutely free. You're gonna have to find a gas station to air back up at some point, but you can air down to 10 psi and you can get out of a lot of stuff
Or you can go and
with more
spend
traction.
$75 at Harbor Freight and get one of those nice 12-volt air
Yeah.
pumps like what I run.
Yeah,
And it works great. But yeah, like people focus so much on what kind of money do I throw at this thing?
yeah,
And I was going to say earlier, so when Matt and I, first time we ever met each other, we ran the Tour de Coalfields together with a big group of folks, and there was everything there from, I was in an XJ at the time on 33s. He was in his Sequoia, right?
Yeah.
that's
What size
awesome.
tire was on it then? 32s?
No, I think that it was on the 33 by 10s. It's got
Okay.
33 by 10 wide Falcon Wild Peaks.
They're awesome. I love
a good tire.
Not a sponsor. I love the Falcon Wild
Yeah.
Peaks.
I've been happy with them for.
I have the MTs on my two-door, and they're amazing.
But going back to that run, so like there was a dude there in a stock Gladiator Overland with Bridgestone Dueler highway treads.
Yep.
Guess what he did? All of it.
Yep.
Guess how many times he got winched? Never.
Yeah.
Walked through all of it. He was at like 22 psi the whole trip. Did everything.
That's why
Now he did scrape a few times because of his breakover angle because he's so long and low, but no issues.
Like
he did Moab too, like that. He's done Moab several times, just like that.
yeah, I think winches are just nice jewelry.
Right. Yeah.
Also depends on what kind of person you are. Like
Yeah.
I like to be prepared for everything and
Everything.
everybody.
Well, so
Right.
when I'm guiding, that's when. So I used to guide at the Cove for big dogs. When I was guiding is when I would find myself winching the most because I would send myself to an obstacle that I knew other people would have fun and a difficult time with, and I just send it.
Yeah.
Just get through it, and then I would winch myself through if I get stuck, so I don't have to wait for someone else. So that way I could guide other people up the trail. That's when I found myself using the winch the most. But if I was a smart driver, which I'm not, I would have picked a different line and gotten through it. But I wanted the people behind me to have more fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like you said earlier, tire pressure, man. That is the best mod you can do, and it's free.
Yeah.
And like I had a rental Wrangler JL for a bit. Hit a deer, and then it was like during COVID, and couldn't get parts.
Yeah.
So
That's a
I
terrible
was
time.
stuck. I was stuck with that JLU. It was terrible, I tell you. I hope you hear the sarcasm in my voice, but it was a sport JLU from Enterprise, and that thing got used. I will tell you that
yeah.
right now. And that thing went everywhere my built Jeeps went, and it had highway tread, and
They're amazing.
it's a stock sport. Like people are like, you gotta have a Rubicon. I'm like, no, you don't.
You don't.
Get
Absolutely
a sport,
not.
air the tires down, or put some good ATs or MTs on it, or even some RTs, and go run it.
I mean, they got just the traction control system in those things make
Yeah.
them work so well.
Well, they have brake lock, limited slip now.
Yep.
Like you don't need lockers.
Yeah,
for
my-
most times you don't need
My
that.
brother has a Renegade Trailhawk, and he used to come wheeling with us at the Cove.
Yes.
And he would put that thing where JKs couldn't go.
Yeah.
It's a Trailhawk, so you put it in 4-low
Rear locker.
first gear in mud mode.
Yeah,
It would literally go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
and it's nimble.
And very nimble.
And it gets 22 miles to the gallon.
Turns on a dime.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're also not going to break yourself if you don't put yourself in a position to brake either.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people's problem is they try to get somewhere where they know they can't and get stuck and then brake, and it's the end of the day.
Well, the other thing too is people think throttle is the answer.
Oh,
Throttle is never the answer. I promise you. If you're not getting traction or not putting power to the ground, you're setting yourself up to snap a shaft.
Yeah,
or
unless
something.
you're in an Ultra 4 car with Spider Trax
Right.
axles and 40s,
Right.
then maybe a little bit of throttle.
Right.
But
Right.
never.
Well, you want to hear the V8, so throttle.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah, but like Matt and I, so, Matt's got his. Tell us about your rig, man.
It's a 2001 Sequoia with 255,000 miles on it.
There you go.
It's,
Thank you.
3310.
I don't know them that well. I can't do that.
Well, you can do it too. I think. It's 3310 17 Falcon Wild Peaks, rear locker, some Dobinson and Old Man Emu suspension.
Okay.
I do have a winch, but there for a while I was wheeling by myself, which, like we said,
Yep.
is not advisable, but it was kind of unavoidable for me to
Yeah.
get out when I could.
Yep.
It was hard for myself and my friends to align our schedules.
Oh, that's terrible nowadays.
So
It's really hard.
I'll just bolt a friend to the front of my car and it can go wheeling with me. And that was
Yep.
my winch. Which,
That's a good way to put it.
fortunately, I've only had to use my winch, kind of like you said. I've only used it maybe once for myself. Most of the time, it's, hey, you're stuck. Let me just use it just for the sake of using it.
Yeah.
I'll use it so it doesn't die. And
Pulling a tree out of your yard.
Yeah.
it's tires, locker, and a little bit of a lift. It's like 2-inch lift. It's stock, and I've went pretty much everywhere I wanted to go with it.
Yeah, that rig does well too, because like it's a pretty big rig, but it also still goes everywhere that a smaller rig goes, and you can sleep in it.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. No rooftop tent needed.
If we go on multiple day trips, I do sleep in it. Now for the 24 hours of Appalachia, I have an awning with a enclosure.
Okay.
So myself and my co-driver, which is probably not advisable. Everybody else is getting a hotel. We're going to camp the night before.
Okay.
So
Hardcore.
I love it.
It's absolutely. I wouldn't advise it because we're going to sleep like.
What are you going to do for heat? Buddy heaters
We're
or
just going to
something?
run a buddy heater in there. It's
Perfect, though.
I've
That's
sized it
perfect.
up. There's enough room for 2 air mattresses side by side and a buddy heater. So it's not a big space to heat. And
It'll be tasty.
Yeah, we're getting a hotel room, and it was originally just supposed to be me and my co-driver, but then PJ signed up as rescue and recovery, and he's got another buddy riding with him to do media.
Right.
So now it's going to be 4 dudes and 2 queen beds.
That's hot.
oh wow,
Someone is going to be poking somebody by then.
I'm like, come on, guys, we gotta get another hotel room.
sleep back to back.
Yeah.
My parents only live about 45 minutes from Seneca, so
Sick.
I'm staying there that
Oh
night.
yeah,
Nice.
That's
yeah,
good.
I'll be at Yoakum's the night before.
Yeah, Yoakum's was sold up, packed when I was looking.
Yeah, they are super cool, man. Those people are like, we are so glad you're doing this time of year, because like they have no business that
Yeah,
weekend.
I'm
Like they
sure.
said, and like you couldn't have picked a better weekend. They've been super accommodating, and so yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot of people are going to be in the area, so maybe we should all coordinate a little meetup or
definitely do a meetup the
something.
night
Hell yeah,
before.
brother.
Yeah,
Come down to Yoakum's campground.
Well, I'm
That's
gonna
where
have all the
gonna be.
podcast stuff too. So you guys want to drink some beer and do a less professional podcast?
Yeah.
We can do that too.
well, looking at the long term weather, it's supposed to be nice that weekend.
Yeah, I hope so.
So high 40s, low 50s, maybe a little bit of rain. So it's kind of like pretty desirable conditions, to be honest.
Yeah.
As long as we, like I said, I tell people, ask them, like, what's the cutoff? Well, if we get 4 inches of snow and then ice rain, then we're going to have to make some serious considerations on the route. But, if it's a little bit of rain, kind of 40s, then that's perfect.
If it's powder snow too, powder's
Yeah, it's fine. Send
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Snow wheeling is.
I cleaned my Jeep off today with my
snow.
snowblower
Yeah,
before
yeah.
I drove down here.
Yeah.
Powder snow's awesome.
Well, like,
Not my snowblower, my leaf blower. That makes more sense than
Right.
a snowblower.
Snow.
Jesus Christ. What the heck?
But so like my wife and I, we actually went and stayed in Elkins this past weekend, and had that meeting with them on, and then we went and rode the train in Elkins, and I was
trains.
like, trains.
We were just talking about.
we were just talking about trains.
The autism's coming out.
Yes. The last town we just rolled, was it this town?
It was this town.
Yeah, and there's like all those old trains at the end of the town.
Yeah.
Then I was just in Disney. I started talking about steam trains. I'm like, dude, trains are so cool.
They are.
We took my son on a Thomas the Train.
Yeah.
That was pretty
Loved
sweet.
it. Yeah.
I don't know who liked it more, me or him.
Oh, you definitely enjoyed it more.
So we were originally going to go home Saturday night after the train ride, and I told her, I was like, let's just stay one more night. Weather looks pretty good. Let's just stay one more night, and hang out in the hotel room, watch movies. Because we don't get to do that, And well, we wake up Sunday morning, and there was like 8 inches of snow on the ground, and I'm in the element. And
Was that a few weeks ago?
That was this past week. This past weekend,
Yep.
like yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yesterday. And there was like, a bunch of snow on the ground, and she hates snow. She gets nervous. Matt's wife hates snow too. And we're like over here, like she grinning ear to ear, like, oh, snow's great. It's like winter willing. But anyway, it was like real fluffy,
Oh, yeah.
And I told her, oh, this is perfect. She's like, it's not perfect. We're all going to die. But anyway, it was nice because I got to play with the element in the snow, fresh powder snow for the first time, really.
Does anybody make any like traction modifications for those? Can you get lockers or any of that stuff for the elements?
The it's a front bias, that's front wheel drive most of the time,
Okay.
but the rear diff is basically a hydraulic pump, right? So the drive shaft goes to the rear diff, and there's a hydraulic pump in there, and it senses wheel slip based off the front tires, and then it tells the valve basically in the diff to open up. And there's some clutch packs in there. It's kind of a very complex system, but it works well when it does. But you can actually get these spacers that go in place of the clutches to make the clutches tighter, so that it locks up faster. It's the same system as the, I think, second gen CRV or something.
CRV's the same way.
Yeah, CRV is the same way. And but that thing, like, I ran it in the Gambler, ran Canadian Loop Road, went up those rock faces and stuff. It walked right up them.
That's so cool.
And I'm like, this doesn't make sense, but it does.
That's so cool.
And I love that element, man. That thing is so much fun. I treat it just like my Jeep, like I said earlier. And I was joking to my wife the other day. I was like, I should do an element ride. Just get a bunch of elements together and just bomb through Appalachia.
Dude, I would buy an element.
That's what I was about to say. I'd buy an element just to do that.
Yeah.
And they're dirt cheap.
They're so cheap.
They're so cheap. They're the new XJ.
They are. Well,
Because the XJs are not XJs anymore. XJs are like,
TJs now.
yeah, they're like
And then like
$6,000-$7,000.
Yeah.
YJs have gone through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like, the thing about the element is I got that from a friend, and she had driven it out in Colorado. She's a doctor, and went to medical school with it and everything. Had a great time, and then I got a hold of it. And the first thing I was like, man, can I get a lift for this? And I looked it up. It's like $200 for the lift kit.
I can get a lift for my
spacer.
09 Sonata. I can find a lift kit for my Sonata.
Yep.
Lift for everything. You can wheel anything you want.
That's right. That's right.
On that note, I bought a $500 Geo Metro.
I love it.
Hell yeah,
Not
brother.
a Metro, a tracker.
Oh, yeah.
Even better.
Oh, yeah.
Even better.
It had 31s and a 2-inch lift, and that thing would follow a Bronco on tons around and a Toyota on tons around.
Driver
And then
mod.
If they're stuck, I can just go around them.
That's right. Because you fit.
Right. Wow.
'Cause you fit.
It was one of the best fun I've ever had off road.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it's kind of how I mean, obviously I'm biased because I own it, but I've been in a lot of cool cars. Fast Corvettes, Porsches.
Well, before this, Backroads of Appalachia was sports cars mostly,
Yeah,
right?
sports cars and motorcycles. We started out with Harleys. Like that was our first really thing because Eric, he's a Harley guy. That's his passion. He loves cruisers. He grew up riding dirt bikes, but Harleys is where it's at for him.
Yeah.
And then we started getting into the sports car clubs, like Porsche Club of America and things like that. And next thing you know, we're doing rally with ARA and Travis Pastrana and those guys. But so we have a wide range of things that we were interested in, but like a lot of our routes are built for those cars and those bikes.
So is that where your background of those cars comes from?
Yeah, so being around some of the events, riding with some of those guys in those cars. Actually, I'm working with a group. They're from New York, and they're all Russian.
Nice.
And
that sounds like a great time, honestly.
Oh, dude, it's a good time. They've been down here before, and they're looking to come back again. And
Need to get the Camaro running for that one.
those dudes were like in 458 Ferraris and GT3s, and They like to party. They came down to the coal fields last year in Mingo County, West Virginia, and they rented side by sides and did the Hatfield McCoy thing, and then they went and drove their cars on the back roads and enjoyed them, and they'll come back again for that. And
when that's going on, do you just pick someone's passenger seat and ride around with them, or how does that work?
That's always an option. A lot of the times we build out the itineraries for them and tell them what roads are good. Okay. That will not destroy their car, number one, and number two is really good corners and banks and where they can enjoy them.
Enjoy the speed limit. Yep.
Right, enjoy the speed limit. And and then like when we did the drift thing,
I had some serious FOMO when that event was going on.
Dude, that was the coolest thing I've ever got to witness.
Well, I didn't know about you guys until you posted the 24 Hours of Appalachia event, but I watched all of those videos.
Yeah.
Like I watched
insane.
all of those videos.
It was awesome.
So those dudes, they are artists with cars.
Oh my!
That's what I call them. They are artists with cars. The precision that they have with those cars is insane. Like I would love to see what they would do with an Ultra 4 car.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
Well, and a lot of them get into Ultra 4.
They do. Yeah, like so. I got to ride with a gentleman named Chris Cabetto. He works for NASA Mid Atlantic and runs the Mid Atlantic region of NASA. Not aerospace.
Oh, okay.
So
NASA.
Yeah. So
that's still NASA. I'm an idiot.
Yeah. So NASA, I think it stands. I feel bad for not knowing the acronym. I think it's North American Sports Car or something association. But anyway, they do different things, right? So they do like grip and drift and rally. And anyway, he was there as the lead car. He had a 911, I think, older 911, but dude was, he's a driving instructor. He's been a race car driver forever. Getting to ride with him, and see what he's doing with the car and he's like.
So you got sideways too. You weren't just sitting on the sidelines. You were in drift cars.
Oh yeah.
You got the coolest job.
Please tell me you got to ride with Turk.
No, I didn't get to ride with Turk, but I got to ride with some drivers that's just about as good as Turk.
They're all very, very good, but his truck, man.
That truck is so cool.
So the truck's cool, but you know what's even cooler? The Ferrari swap car.
Oh, was that there?
That was there.
Okay.
Yeah, here in that car.
I bet.
Dude, that was sick. So I rode on day one with two different drivers. They're both in BMWs with LS swaps. And then day two day one was wet. So we got a bunch of rain. But day two was dry as can be. It was perfect conditions. And that day two was actually a longer section of road with more corners.
So you guys moved around.
So all on the same road.
Okay.
Literally within a 3 mile stretch of road, we did all this. And day two was dry, and we did some VIP rides that day. We had a couple government officials out. Delegate Dittman, actually, she came down with her daughter, and they both got rides in cars. And that's something we always try to do, is we always try to include our government folks so they can actually see what the stuff is. And
see how people are enjoying it responsibly.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Promoting these areas.
Closed course, safety protocols, etc. Let's get after it. But put her in the car with a guy named Mark Landerville. He's from Canada, actually, came down, and he was in a 370Z. And he was the FD Canada champion, I think 2 years in a row. But dude's a ripper, off the rev limiter, up and down the road the whole time, sideways, tire smoke, the works. I put her in that car, and she got out of the car. She smiled at her. She's like, I don't know what to say right now. She's like, that was the coolest thing ever. But with my wife, she came down. Fortunately, I was able to get her in a car and put her in with a gentleman named Kyle. He's in a purple, I think, S14 or 240, the 408 Stroker LS and a sequential.
Everything LS.
Yeah. And she got to ride, and she was like, and she made a joke. She was picking up on Chris. She's like, I feel safer in this drift car with a roll cage than I do in that 911 with you and their roll cage. But yes, that was cool. And getting to witness that, and the community just absolutely just lost their minds there. They thought it was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, guess what?
It came out of nowhere too. It just started popping up. Videos were I follow a bunch of people that were there driving it, and they're posting all this stuff, and I'm like trying to do detective work and figure out where you guys are.
Yeah.
You were near Beckley, right?
Yeah, Beckley. So we're at Pluto Road, in Raleigh County. Cool road, excellent road for sports cars and touring motorcycles, whatever. It's real tight, twisty corners, and kind of in a canyon almost. But moving forward with Drift Appalachia, that is going to be the next thing for Drift. Really, we're working with some fantastic guys with that, and we work with US Drift and Drift Indy. So Edgar and Brian, they're amazing individuals. They love their sport, and They've been in it since the early 2000s, like when Initial D came out and stuff. And great guys to work with. All the drivers are super awesome. They love West Virginia, love Kentucky. And like several of the guys were like, man, I can't wait to come back here for a vacation.
Well, most of those guys, like the professionals, they're all out west too.
Yeah.
Like Turk.
Well, Turk's actually, he's in New Hampshire.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, so he's in the Northeast. But we had people from coast to coast. And that was something to see because like a lot of those guys from out west coming here, a couple of the dudes compared him to roads in Japan. Like we actually had a dude that had a AE86 Corolla, and he was like, this is the closest thing to Japan that we can ever get.
That's wild.
It blew me away.
I think the East Coast is quickly becoming a hub for motorsports.
It is.
So I did I was up at Ultra 4 USA at Famous Reading last year.
Yeah.
And it is now a national race. So last year was just an East Coast race.
Yeah.
It is now part of their national race series.
Yeah.
And it is I think it's a 2 points race this year. So Ultra 4 is realizing the value in the East Coast. The drift guys are seeing the value in the East Coast.
Yep.
And I think with the exposures of the backroads of Appalachia and the backwoods exploration that people are doing, I think the East Coast is about to blow up with a bunch of
it's going to be a wave.
motorsports. Yeah.
Summit Point has gotten some serious traction the past few years with events and people coming in. Like Adam LZ just did an event there.
Yeah.
And
he was there for Drift Appalachia. Yeah.
And like that blew up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that knew about Summit Point and all that stuff, but they do one lap of America there, and
they did 24 hours of lemons there, didn't they?
they've been doing that for a long time.
So
I want to get into that.
Chris, I mentioned Chris Cabetta earlier. He runs Hyperfest at VIR. And what's cool about Hyperfest is it's like all motorsports in the same place. It's like drift, it's off-road, it's overlanding, it's freaking grip racing. I mean, it's all of it.
Yeah, I was at the last event that it was held at Summit Point at.
Nice. That's cool. What year was that?
12.
Okay. Yeah, because it grew.
I think
grew up.
12.
Yeah.
Summit Point's nice, but it's like it can't handle the way Hyperfest got.
Well, see, our big goal is, and I don't want to give locations or a bunch of plans, but we want to do something like that in Appalachia. That's our next. We
closed roads, private course,
or not? No, closed roads.
Yeah,
so that's our thing. Like we love to work with the state and the counties and stuff to close roads so that people get the most raw experience that they can get.
Yeah,
which is on real roads, and we don't need a track.
No,
the whole world is our track.
I was not worried, but just interested on how you guys staged all that. Because where were they parking trailers and trucks?
On the road.
That's awesome.
Pit and paddock was on the road.
On a side
Unfortunately,
of the hill.
it wasn't the goal to do that. Our goal was to actually park in a field that was beside of the course, really. But it rained a bunch, and we're not going to muddy someone's field up.
Yeah.
But we're always looking. That's our thing. We always try to find the road that has a paddock area, which is hard. But fortunately, we found some pretty decent areas in the two states that we can do that at.
There's a hill climb in Flintstone, Maryland, that has a really nice grassy paddock area that they set up in. And it can house a lot of vehicles. Trucks, trailers, RVs.
Yeah. Well, that's one reason why I picked Seneca was because there's so many parking lots in that area. If you look at satellite imagery. And we're working with the U.S. Forest Service. They're going to possibly open up Seneca Rocks Visitor Center to stage vehicles. So then we're off the road and out of the way.
Said that the other day.
Yeah.
So I've got a good idea on how the front half of the event's going to go. How's the back half of the event in Point Pleasant going to go?
So I actually had one of the city council members who's a off-roader reach out, and he was like, "Hey, are you opposed to having us shut a street down?" I was like, "Dude, yeah, absolutely, please do it." And
are you opposed to? No. Yeah,
no,
of course I want that.
I mean, quite honestly, at first, my plan was literally just to go up there and sit with a few of the staff members, and we would just wait for people, and they would check in, and we would record their time, and then, hey, go to your hotel and get some rest, and we'll do the reception tonight, But the Point Pleasant got on board, and they were like, "Dude, we'll shut the whole street down. We don't care.
Incredible.
We'll shut it down.
Yeah, do a car show afterwards. Everyone sees each other's muddy stuff and talk to each other about their vehicles.
Well, literally, it ends at Mothman. Yeah. The Mothman statue, it ends right at Mothman.
That's incredible.
And he was like, "Man, if you want us to bring tents and stuff," I was like, "Dude, absolutely." Like, I was gonna do it easy up to hang out under, but. Anyway, they got on board, and they're just excited to have something like that come in their town. And that again, going back to our mission with Backroads, is the more that we can involve the community and bring people to a place, we're for it.
Yeah.
We'll do everything we can to do that. And Point Pleasant, it's such a cool town. It's so random too. It's like right along the Ohio River, and
Yeah, I noticed it's like
just
I booked my hotel room, and I'm like, shit, my hotel is in Ohio.
Yeah.
Where the hell are we going?
yeah. So we'll do the check in there, and in the route, that's the thing too. I need to remind people at the driver's meeting is obviously record your route so we can check for accuracy and make sure you end your route recording whenever you get to Point Pleasant. And we'll look at times and stuff. And one of the things where someone asked me, how are you going to control speeds? Well, what we're going to do is whoever has the best average speed that's not above 30 mile an hour, that's going to get some type of not award, but recognition.
29.9 miles an hour.
Here's a hot dog.
Yeah. So he might get a cool sticker or something. I don't know, or a pat in the back.
So we're going to do a driver's reception afterwards. Is there going to be some sort of raffle or?
Yeah. So actually, Haltech. Haltech is one of our partners at Backroads of Appalachia. Okay. They are donating a ECU, complete standalone ECU. And then I think a couple other folks are bringing some like gas cars and stuff. We're going to do some raffles there.
We've got Gearhead Coffee.
You got Gearhead Coffee.
Yeah. We are also DirtNerds Off-Road, the Dirt Drive podcast and DirtNerds Off-Road.
Yeah. So, there's some cool companies that have stepped up to really offer neat stuff to raffle off and showcase. And we'll probably do 50-50 tickets too.
Okay. It's going to be a whole damn event.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going to be doing the reception at Barnyard Barbecue for the drivers and co-drivers and teams and stuff. That place, when I hit them up, I was like, hey, how busy are you the first weekend of February? They were like, nothing's happening then. I'm like, cool, perfect weekend then. And I was like, people. So can I bring like 300 of my friends and like invade your place? And they're like, yeah. So they basically have agreed to shut down the restaurant from like the reception time, or actually going to shut down a little bit early. But
nice.
We own their restaurant for a whole like 2 or 3 hour window and get to hang out there, and they have some amazing food. I went and stopped and ate there when I was actually on the way up to PRI in Indianapolis, and just took some pictures and stuff. And man, their food menu is so vast. There's something there for everybody. They have a really great beer selection. Don't be drinking and driving. Go to your hotel room right after, right?
No, drink responsibly, not drink and drive responsibly.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
But they have a fantastic meeting area and a stage and stuff. So we'll have some music, and not that we have a live band, but I'll probably bring a really big speaker and play really good music. So yeah, I'm
sure if you reach out in a Facebook group, you could get a band to show up.
Probably, yeah. But
so if you're a band
near Scott Depot, West Virginia, and you're listening, let's hear some samples, and we might think about it, right?
Oh yeah, covers only.
Yeah, so covers only.
The recording the route aspect. I mean, Gaia is obviously the main choice. Gaia
and Onyx both offer the same route tracking ability, and they will monitor average speed and pace, and of course mileage. What I'm doing is, I'm asking people once they conclude the route to email me their GPX, and what I'll do literally is I'll import it in a Gaia and I'll lay it over my route that I've laid out and see how accurate it was, and then obviously look at times and stuff too.
Okay, so you're gonna be busy. Are you running the event? Are you driving the 24 hours as well, or are you just going straight to Point Pleasant?
So let me tell you how this worked. So I had that meeting with all the government emergency management folks, and while I was on the phone, or actually Google Meet with them, a gentleman by the name of Don Havens, who I went to school with, both his sons, both are in the military. He was military, now works in the emergency management world, and he actually just got appointed in Greenbrier County to run their emergency management team. And he was like, man, he's like, I got this really cool FEMA trailer that has all these screens and computers and Starlink internet. And he's like, do you want that to use it as like command central? And I'm like, sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. And so he's going to pull it out near Sam Black Church, which is about halfway actually for the route. And so I'll have ham radio comms. We're actually working on a repeater system across the whole state.
My next question is what I assume 17 and 22 don't hit repeaters.
So 17 and 22 people will be monitoring that. Okay. So we're working with some ham folks that work for emergency management that are going to set up some repeaters that can monitor this stuff. And there's actually going to be ham radio operators in each region that will hand off to another ham operator.
Okay.
So just a big leapfrog of radios.
So
right?
So it will be a small repeater for those channels then?
Yes.
Okay.
And in in a form.
In a weird way.
Yeah. And of course, I got that guy in the middle too with the big radios that can transmit pretty far. So there will always be some way to communicate, whether it's by radio or someone that has random service and they leapfrog up to that person and say, hey, we got a problem, let's fix it. Yeah. It's a pretty big network of radio and comms, and we're fortunately the state stepped up to offer that as an option, and we're very thankful for that. And it's really cool to see just the involvement from the government. They're like, man, this is the coolest thing in the world. And I mentioned the summer run to them, and the lady that basically oversees the whole coalfields region, she was like, you tell me when and where to be, and I'll move whatever you need to make it happen. And blew me away, really. And Teresa, I'll give a shout out to you. But so going back to the FEMA trailer, it's like all these screens. It's like I'm being like a command center, like command center for the military or something. But so we have a couple of the emergency management folks who are going to be in there with us and monitoring radios, and we'll have shifts and stuff. And so that'll be cool. And part of the route actually goes right by my house. I'm going to say where, because I don't want anybody's being weird and showing up, but it's very close to there. But so I'll do a shift, and then I'll probably have my wife do a shift. And she has a background in event organization too.
Okay.
And
because this is a huge event to organize.
It's turned into a pretty big production.
Well, I think it blew up a lot bigger than anybody probably anticipated.
I didn't intend for this to happen, but it did, and I'm not mad about it. But it's now it's here, and we got to work with it. So
it's funny.
Just deal with it. Yeah.
I've got 2 guys coming with me, and I've probably had 10 people be like, hey man, you got room in your Jeep?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm not taking more than 2 people.
Yeah, I didn't even consider a second co-driver until Freddie told me he had a second co-driver. I'm like, dang, I should have registered a different vehicle other than the 2-door.
Yeah. So, I mean, 3-door or 4-door, 3 people's plenty.
That's tight in a 4-door.
Well, think of it like this, and that's one reason why I made it an option for a third person. So when dudes go run the Baja 1000, they pre-run it. They have 3 people in their pre-runner. They have a driver, they have a mapper, and then they have a person literally looking through binoculars. So, and that's how, when they do Cannonball Run, that's usually the setup that people are running Cannonball Run.
3 people.
3 people. Yeah. So, not that we're racing, but never. But, so, in the summer, obviously we're going to get this one under our belt. This will be a really good R&D session, more or less. And then the summer one, test and tune, right? Get all the kinks worked out, get some feedback from all the drivers and co-drivers and people involved. And the summer one, my goal with the summer one is to have 300.
Holy shit.
100 motorcycles, 100 adventure bikes, it's enduros, KTMs, things like that, 10 Ray 700s. And then 100 side-by-sides. They have to be licensed and registered, obviously. Yep,
that's cool. Because you in your email you just sent out, you're like 2 Raptors and the side-by-sides. I'm like, shit, I forgot side-by-sides were illegal in West Virginia.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there is a no travel in place for side-by-sides and U.S. Forest Service roads.
Okay.
So I did have to make an alternate route for them that just keeps them on state right-of-ways. But I did talk to the U.S. Forest Service about that, and there's a potential in pretty distant future they might work with us. But in regards to
side-by-sides are just no offense to the side-by-side community, but y'all just rip. Mm-hmm. Y'all just rip. You just go. And that's the reason, back to Moab, that's the reason we're losing Moab, is because you guys
are hucking it across everywhere.
Respect the trails, go the speed limit. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. And
I don't want to harp on the side-by-sides, but don't be the reason we lose our trails. Well, sorry, we got political. We went there.
Well, it's just the truth, man. The barrier to entry to side-by-sides is a lot lower than some things. And the people that run it, some of them are respectful and great, and I love all those people. But the people that are not, I don't love those people. And I will tell you if you are that person, and all the guys that are coming and running this thing, they're all professional people. They all, have a lot of money invested in their rig. They went through the process to be legal. So that means to me, in my mind,
a very lengthy process.
They're above and beyond, right? And I want to help those people, But if you want to go out and cut donuts in the middle of a creek and throw beer cans, then you're a problem, And we don't embrace that at all.
No. So how many side-by-sides are in it?
I've got four registered, and they're all have a Razor, have a Can-Am. I think there's a Terex and there's a WAC Z1000. So all like rigs that can go, highway speeds if needed.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to send those guys out first because we obviously know their pace is going to be different. Their suspension travel, etc. Obviously, encouraging them to go the speed limit, but they're going to be able to go overtrain that us full size rigs are not going to go over as fast.
Yeah,
correct. But and then we got 2 Ford Raptors. Shout out to Matt
That's
Smithman.
cool. I was surprised to see that. That's really cool.
So Matt, he runs. You have to look
It's a
him up.
shop, isn't it?
Well, no, Matt. So Matt does exotic car rallies.
Oh yeah, I looked him up. Ultra Rally. Because I was looking through it. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna have my podcast equipment with me.
Yeah.
If you want to be on the podcast, you got something cool. Pitch yourself. We could do podcasts after we're done. But I was looking. I'm like, this seems like a cool event. He seems like a cool guy.
Matt's cool. We've known Matt for. I haven't known Matt for a while, but Eric and BOA has known Matt for a while, and. Our ultimate goal with Matt is at some point to do some stuff with him and maybe even do just a Ford Raptor and TRX event. Not necessarily a 24-hour challenge, but we want to get those folks out too and show them what their rig is capable of. Like he has a Velociraptor Hennessy.
Oh,
and
wow!
He runs it. I mean, he treats it like it's built to be treated. And
that's my biggest gripe with Raptors and TRXs on the East Coast. I'm like, you can't use your vehicle like it was intended to be used because we just don't have the environment here. But if you can get closed road courses, then you can potentially use them like they should be.
Well, like one of the things we work with a lot of private landowners to hold our events, and we're looking at properties all over the state of West Virginia and Kentucky to utilize for events, and it wouldn't be an issue to talk to someone that has an abandoned strip mine, have a little jump out there, build or two, and couple bank corners,
blow some airbags up like you've seen in all the Raptor videos.
But Matt's a good dude, and we've talked on the phone several times, and he's bringing one of his friends also that has a Raptor. His is an older generation, I believe. Matt's is the newer one, but I might be wrong on that. But anyway, they both run them, and I would love to see more people on the East Coast have those rigs, and we find places for them to go utilize them. Yeah. And one of the things that's going back to the summer run, because of the attention this thing has gotten, there's some shops on the East Coast that build Ultra 4 cars. One of them is Miller Motorsports in Cumberland.
I've been talking to Eric.
Been talking to Eric as well. Cool dude.
Really cool dude.
He's heading to the Hammers right now, and we're looking to work with him and maybe bring some of those guys out, not necessarily their Ultra 4 cars, but Ultra 4-esque vehicles for the summer run, because the route is going to cater more towards technical terrain. We'll just say it like that.
Well, let's take a pause because I gotta pee, but we'll come back and we'll talk about some summer event. A question I have that may infuriate Freddie is, are you guys going to... Is it going to be first come, first serve again?
Yes.
Are you guys going to open it up to the guys who ran the winter event, or is it going to be no guys from the winter event and just to get a new clientele?
No, so we'll do the same format we did with the winter event. Whoever
first come, first serve.
First come, first serve. So as soon as you see, make sure you follow BOA on our Instagram and Facebook and stuff. We'll make an announcement. I'm thinking probably a week or two after the winter run, we'll make the announcement for the summer thing.
Same route or different route?
No.
Hell yeah, brother.
So we're going to change.
Said Kentucky earlier, so.
Well, so the summer run will be in West Virginia again, but we'll just say it's going to be in the coal fields. I did work out some stuff with a city called Hinton. Okay. So they have a water festival. It's usually sometimes late in July, and we're looking at starting the run there in Hinton and ending in Hinton. It'll be a big circle.
Oh, that's cool. Those are popular because the PA BDR is also a big circle.
Yep.
The KAT is a big circle. Mm-hmm. And for guys that, I don't want to say trailer, but if you're bringing side-by-sides or bikes, you don't have to worry about the logistics of trying to figure out how to get back to the trailer, get the trailer to the end point.
I saw a lot of people are just having the trailer follow them once they unload and everything in Seneca Rocks.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of the thought process, too, for the second one. I was like, man, we probably ought to make just one big lap of something, And so actually I built that right out last night.
Nice.
So
I'm not saying I want to see it, but
I'll show you a screenshot.
Listen, if I can put together the winter one, I can put together, and I'll have it done tomorrow.
But
he'll make me drive home, and then he'll be working on it on our way back.
Yeah.
So this one, it's shorter, but the train's a lot slower. I'll just say it to you like that.
I like that.
So
maybe some aluminum slips, some front lockers.
I wouldn't say lockers. It's just going to be slower. We'll just say that.
Hell yeah.
Anybody can do it in a stock Jeep. That's the thing. I'm sorry I keep using Jeep, but
Stock 4x4.
Bronco.
Stock Bronco.
Oh, how about that?
Broncos could be more capable than the Jeeps because a stock Bronco has 35s front and rear lockers.
Yeah.
And upgraded tie rods.
Yeah, tie rods and it needs tie rods, and the steering box needs to be upgraded on those.
But Matt has been on some of it. We were talking about this morning, and you ran it with no issue. And like I mentioned the rental Jeep earlier. That rental Jeep went on some of it.
Okay.
Granted, driver mod. Not trying to boast about my abilities, but if that's the thing, I always want to build these routes where anybody can do it, no matter what forward drive you have, for the most part, right?
Yeah.
As long as you know how to drive.
Well, center locking diff can also do a lot of things that you
Right.
think it probably shouldn't. Like my wife's Santa Fe has a center locking diff and snow and mud mode, and I'm like, in a hybrid Santa Fe,
Right.
I bet it could. I'm not. The payment's too high. We're not taking it.
Right.
But I bet we could take it.
Well, like there's a gentleman that I run around with sometimes. He has a Subaru Outback Wilderness. Mm-hmm. Now he's lifted a little bit more and put some skid plates on it. It does have an ATV winch on it as well, and he's done the Cat.
Yeah.
Okay, and no issues. He's been on a lot of stuff that people again would come to with 37s, but there's no way. And that thing walks right up it.
I promise there is.
There is a way. Yeah, but we always want to have the ability to bring as a wide range of people as possible, because the challenge number one is the distance.
Yeah.
It's not the terrain, it's the distance.
It's the distance. It's the time.
Right. It's the time, it's the distance, it's your planning ability. It is your ability as a driver and co-driver working together to make good decisions under stress. Someone asked me, what is your ultimate goal with this? My ultimate goal is build better drivers.
Build better drivers and get the East Coast the recognition it deserves to try and keep our trails open, try and keep our national forests open, and also raise money for nonprofits. Yep.
So like each event that we do, we're going to pick a different nonprofit each time, and we don't charge an entry fee. We just ask that people donate.
Oh yeah, that was going to be a question we were going to ask about.
Not worried. Just wanted to know
budget. Yeah. So a couple people have asked, what's the suggested donation? I would feel really good if it was $100 to $200 per vehicle.
Okay.
I think that's a good number. If we could raise $20,000 in a weekend for this one nonprofit, that's amazing. And there's even been some people reach out asking for EIN numbers because their jobs want to write checks for this stuff. So the more the merrier.
Well, and it's also a charitable donation for your small business too. So
it's tax write-off.
Tax write-off.
Yeah. And you're going to have a lot of fun doing it too. That's the other part of it, right?
Yeah.
So
already ready to go.
Oh, so I know it's going to be fun.
It's going to be hard too.
I'm not looking forward to being up for 24 hours and
not at all.
Spending 3 nights in a row with my best friends because I'm going to kill them.
Well, so like Matt and I were on the way over. And
we rode down here from Northern Virginia. I almost tried to call Freddie twice.
Well, we were sitting there talking crap to each other, and I didn't say it, but I thought it. I was like, this is what it's going to be for 24 hours straight. People talking crap to each other like, oh, you missed that quarter. You're a terrible navigator. And just making jokes about each other. And that is going to forge friendships and bonds that will last for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because when you suffer together, that's the best bonds ever.
Got to bleed together.
That's right. Exactly. But, going back to the summer run, like that's going to be a pretty good one as far as terrain goes. So be shorter.
Don't have to worry about snow.
Don't have to worry about snow. I don't even care about rain either. We'll run it rain or shine. Doesn't matter to me.
Well, the weather's just another obstacle. No matter what it is, it's just another obstacle.
Pick a good tire and good air pressure.
Yep.
Good boots and a good jacket.
That's right. Yep. But that one, we're going to turn that into like a 3-day thing too. So Friday we'll have like a little like park expose / car show for some of the rigs. We'll pick some of the cool rigs and show them off in downtown Hinton. And
the less Jeep it is, the more cool it is.
I'm not going to say that.
You won't say that, but I will.
So we'll have some full size rigs. We'll just say full size rigs and a couple side by sides and a couple cool bikes. And showcase these to people that that are going to be there anyway. And so then we'll have music and stuff. Working with one of the senators that is over that area. You know, he's a gearhead.
Yep.
He's also a film guy too, so he looks at it from a film perspective.
Okay. We were talking about this. Continue your story.
Yeah.
I'll ask you in a second.
But
Gary Howe?
Huh?
Are you talking about Gary Howe or?
No, not Gary. So Jack Woodrum.
Okay.
So Jack is the senator over Summers County, parts of Fayette, parts of Greenbrier County. Good friend of mine and cool dude. He's worked in the media industry. He's worked in crematory industry. He's done everything.
Wild. Okay.
Filming, like jack of all trades. And but anyway, he was like, let's do something. And I was like, well, what about Hinton? That's your hometown, you know? And he's like, well, we'll do everything we can to make sure it's a cool event and we can do a festival vibe. And so festival vibe Friday and then run Saturday, and then Sunday evening we'll do a reception breakfast or something somewhere. That's you know. But again, going back to our goal is Backroads of Appalachia is to bring people to towns that you know need love, and keeping them getting people there for a few days and having a good time and bringing them back at some point too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it should be like I said, more technical terrain. I will suspect more mechanical issues.
Yeah.
Not necessarily people getting stuck, but you're gonna rattle your rig apart basically.
Exactly.
If not, maybe even for the winter run too because of the distance. But
yeah, my chase truck will have a spare front drive shaft because I've got the red Zeppa. it's already leaking. There's already grease everywhere, so I'm gonna just bring a spare drive shaft from the shop.
Yeah.
Unless Adams wants to step up and kick me a drive shaft, but we don't expect that from you.
Yeah, so that's the thing I keep telling when we have the recovery team, we do a meeting about once every other week, just kind of talk to each other and get a gauge on things. And you know, I told them in the last meeting, I was like, I don't expect a lot of people to get stuck. I'll expect a lot of mechanical issues. And several of the people that are volunteering for recovery are mechanics, and they have literally a whole mechanics bed basically on some of their rigs. And
I mean, I'm fully decked out with
our chase truck is mechanics. My co-driver owns a shop.
Yeah.
Freddie's, I mean, we're going to be running right next to Freddie. Freddie's a halfway decent mechanic, I guess.
Debatable.
You know, I think back to the past year at Baja, right? So that kid came over from
Baja. Oh yeah,
the motorcycle.
The motorcycle. That's so. He bought it sight unseen, ran, and he didn't win, but he finished.
Dude, he finished, and he was still like very competitive.
10. Yeah,
you know, and that's the thing that I've realized out of this event is, you know, we have folks like yourselves that have like chase teams basically, and then there's people that literally it's just like a father and his son in their Tacoma, and they're just going to go have a good time, you know, and
boys being boys.
But if something happens, guess what? There's all these people here.
Yep.
You know, we're going to take care of each other.
I'll have 10 gallons of gas in the chase truck.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. And if anybody needs it, anybody gets stuck, I will fill it up again next time we stop. And I mean, I don't want anybody to get stuck on the trail. It's not a competition, but you don't compete in the pits.
Right.
You compete on the track, and even though it's not a competition, we're still going to be having fun. And if anybody needs help, though, it's wide open. And that's actually one thing, a strategy that me and Freddie have is he may be in the 35 class, I'll be in the 33 class. I'll either try and start with him, or he can either try to start with me, and we'll keep 300 yards between us at all times. So if one of us has an issue, we've got more people to help, and it's also not a race; it's just for fun.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, it's going to be a test of your strategy, your ability, your mechanical skills, even possibly your rig
maintenance.
Yeah, your rig maintenance.
Yeah, we both just did individual rig maintenance.
Well, that's one of the things. Right before the event, I'll just go ahead and say now. You know, I'm going to send out an email encouraging people to do bolt checks.
Yeah,
you know, like I just paint marker, all your bolts, check all your bolts.
All my bolts and my suspension have green paint marker on them right now.
Yeah,
did it the other day.
Yep. And going back to building better drivers, what's part of being a driver? Well, knowing some of your mechanical components too. You know, not just taking it to a shop somewhere and saying, "Here, fix this." Like, there's nothing wrong with turning wrenches. Like, people shouldn't shy away from it. It's not that hard.
Well, if you
watch some YouTube, you'll be all right.
If you spend any time on the trail at all, you should know how your vehicle works.
Right.
Period.
Agreed.
Certain aspects of it.
Yeah. You don't have to know how to take a whole engine apart.
No,
but you should know what a strut
work or stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, you should know how like a strut mounts. You know, or a you know, how your control arms bolt to your frame, etc. Like, those are things that could go wrong on the trail. How to change a CV axle out in the trail, how to take a drive shaft out and change a U-joint. Like, that's not hard stuff, man.
So going back to your Senator and also to this video. So since we'll be in national parks and other stuff, does each individual person who wants to get video have to get their own permit, or is there an overall permit for everyone?
No, so
because I know the national parks and National Forest Service is really particular about filming.
If people are running drones, you cannot fly drones in the New River Gorge because it's a national park now. Forest Service, I think it's fair game for drones. Obviously, whenever you fly your drone, you should pull your map up anyway and look at your no-fly areas. But as far as like taking pictures like with your phone or your camera en route, that's not a problem, I don't believe. So
yeah, I have to look at the laws.
But the drones thing is really the touchy thing.
I think
I'm borrowing a drone from a buddy to run. And
yeah, I think from the little research I've done, almost any video production in a national forest can be subject to removal if it's for marketing purposes or for promotion of your pages.
Yeah, I'm not. That's the thing. Like going back to promotion, like so. The point of this whole thing is to promote the region.
Correct.
If we gain followers, and so be it. But the goal is, I care about our region.
Yep.
We all care about our region, really, because we're all here. But the better that we can showcase this area and showcase it in a responsible way, then we won.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So if anyone from the National Park Service and U.S. Forest Service listening, that's our goal.
Yep.
We're not trying to make money off this. We're trying to, educate people, really. You can go have fun, do it in a responsible way. So, like I mentioned earlier with the gentleman I talked to at the Mon, he literally said to me, he's like, I want people to have fun.
Yep, 100%.
Do it the right way. So, but moving forward in the future, we've got some other events coming up that aren't like the endurance stuff, but we have an event planned in May for also benefiting the Children's Home Society. It's called Topless on the Hellbender.
I saw that.
Yeah, so that's a 3-day like kind of overland experience type of thing. We're going to stay at a camp near Richwood, West Virginia. Built out 3 routes for different skill levels.
Okay. Yep, I'm familiar with that now.
But that's a good time. Then we'll also have, of course, a summer run. In June, there's a thing called the Hellbender Hootenanny. That's for all motorsports, motorcycles, cars, sports cars, off-road vehicles. And then, of course, the summer run will be around July time frame. And then in the fall, we have a thing called Wheeling for Hope, and that's at the Ace Adventure Resort. They have agreed to allow us to build basically a big challenge course that could also double as an Ultra 4 course maybe one day.
Ooh.
And so we're going to go up there next Friday to start looking at laying that out and moving dirt and stuff. And that'll be a 3-day event as well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Be some various activities there for people to come in and join. And the whole point of that is to raise money for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and benefit some other folks that do that kind of work as well. So Mission 22 for veterans, people like that. But that's we did that for the first time this past fall. It went pretty well, and this year just building on what we did in this previous year.
Yeah, from really popping out of nowhere, you guys are making a huge impact. I mean, the first time I heard about you was this event, and then it was the Drift Appalachia, and now
I saw the Drift event first.
Now seeing everything, it's like you guys are just going to take over at least take over West Virginia and Kentucky.
Yeah. So I don't want to even say we're taking over. We don't ever want to say it's all us because we
not
work
taking
with,
over, but you're a domineering presence in the automotive industry and in states where it's not big.
Right. We always make it a point to partner with people, because we can't do it by ourselves. We always want to work with professional organizations, NASA, ARA, Ultra 4, Tread Lightly, U.S. Forest Service, whatever entity is out there. We're willing to partner with people and make things happen. And as long as we can fulfill our mission of bringing people to Appalachia, then we won.
You won.
So, but I guess I think we're running out on time here. And
sure.
If there's anything else you want to ask me that
you got any questions? Freddie's my official stand-in dirt nerd today, so.
I don't think so. We already went over the couple things that I was.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get off air and have you look at my map and tell me if I'm right or wrong. That's what I'm most excited for. And it's being shared between me and Freddie, and that's it.
Don't be asking for the GPX or we'll be mad at you.
No, that's it. I appreciate you guys showing up. Where can people find you guys at?
So we have Backroads of Appalachia on Instagram and Facebook. We also have TikTok. We have another project called the Appalachian Overland Triangle, which focuses on Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia, Tennessee, and Ohio. I know that sounds like not a triangle, but it's a triangle. Wink, wink.
Kind of.
But originally it was a triangle. Then we added in Ohio and it became a diamond. But that is more or less a centralized resource that we're going to start working on to promote responsible use of trails and places to go and things to do.
Well, like we said earlier, the more trails that people know about and that are public, the less
congested.
the less congested and the less run down the trails are going to become.
Right. And that's that project is actually we'll be working under the Appalachian Regional Commission, the ARC. So the ARC is more or less an economic development wheelhouse for Appalachia, and they do a lot of different philanthropic things. And econ things. Go check their website out. It's interesting. But we also under BOA we work under the ARC model, and so we try to focus on states that are in the ARC map and counties.
Okay. What is the ARC?
Appalachian Regional Commission.
Okay, there you go.
But one of the neat things.
Said that, Tim.
Yep, I know.
One of the things that is interesting about West Virginia specifically is every single county is under the ARC. Only parts of Kentucky, only parts of Virginia, only parts of Maryland, actually, Pennsylvania, and other states. But West Virginia is the only state in the region that every county is in their map.
That's cool.
So we want to do as much as we can for the region. So, yeah.
Well, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you putting this whole thing together. And it seems like it's a logistical nightmare, but you guys are handling it very well.
Working through it.
Yeah.
Working through it. Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to come hang out with you guys and talk.
Literally anytime. Reach out anytime. We'll come out for any event. We've been talking for almost 2 hours now, and I feel like we're going to go get hamburgers and hang out for another hour and a half before we go home.
I'm down.
But yeah, man, thanks for being here. Freddie, thank you for standing in.
Mm-hmm. Not a problem. Anytime.
Get some insider information too.
We're both lucky to have
not
government
that
jobs.
they were scheming at all, but
well, Matt's learning stuff too. As we sit here and talk, he's driving too. So
Yeah, I have no idea what the route is. So if you think you know what it is, I might just kind of peek.
No, it's just for me and Freddie. Just for me and Freddie.
Oh gosh,
but cool,
He's
man.
only at 582 miles though.
Yeah, you're all
You're
quite a
straight
bit.
up 600?
618.
618.
God damn.
Ooh.
All right. I thought you were going to go under. I thought you were guessing for you rounded up from 520. Ooh.
618, buddy.
I like it.
Now, if we have to run the snow route, that shaves about 70 miles off.
Okay.
But
I don't think.
I'm really thinking we're going to run the OG route. It's going to be a good time.
I hope so.
Oh, yeah. Well, Matt, where can people find you online? Promote any business you may have as well. If
Absolutely, go ahead. Man.
okay.
I have absolutely no businesses related to anything.
That's fine.
Here.
Give your dog washing business a shout
so
out.
my wife and I own the dog boarding, grooming, and daycare business in Beaver. It's called the Dog House, and I think on Facebook it's the Dog House 118 is how you can search us. So can't give you anything off road, but if you need somebody to watch your dog,
While you're going off road, man.
While you go off-road,
There you go. It's
sure,
off roady. Full circle.
That's right.
that's about all I got as far as businesses to plug.
Well,
Cool.
I'll say it because he won't, but he's looking at garages. So he's
Okay.
looking at garages to do some of this stuff as well in the Beckley area. So at some point he's going to have a garage, and he'll be doing builds as well. So
Hopefully in the next 2 or 3 years, I'll probably just start off just whatever people want me to work on their vehicles. I've worked on Toyotas for the last 12 years in dealerships.
Okay.
So hopefully,
So novice.
yeah, I've worked on a few. So
Just getting started.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to start just working on whatever anybody's going to bring me, but in goal, I would like to end up just building cool shit.
Yeah, that's all any of us want to do is cool brands like you guys are doing with Backroads of Appalachia, and hopefully you guys think we're a cool brand with DirtNerds and Dirt Drive. Freddie's building a cool brand of himself. Where can people find you, Freddie?
Fidget.fred on Instagram. And
He's our Instagram famous friend.
yeah, just not really though. Instagram. I post some stuff on YouTube, and it's all findable from Instagram.
Yeah, hell yeah. So we're all building cool brands, building them together, and supporting each other along the way, just like the community should be.
right, absolutely. Rising seas raise all ships.
Yep.
And that is our motto. Like, I don't ever want to be in competition with everybody. I want to work together with everybody.
Yeah.
The more that we can bring here to Appalachia, the better.
Everyone's friends in the pits.
That's right.
Everyone's friends in the pits. Well, on that note, guys, let's go. I'm hungry.
Cheers.
Let's go get some food,
Hell yeah.
and let's go get some insider information that we may or may not get. Cool, guys. I appreciate all of you, and we will see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Bye.